Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for clicking on. It is Monday night, 11:03 p.m., the 27th day of 2024. It is also Memorial Day here in the United States. Remembrance Day was what it was called back when I was a kid. And again, thank you for clicking on. We've got update on all five potential fronts the U.S. military could be engaged in. And let's just get right to it. Thank you all once again for watching. If you're in the chat, thank you very much. I'll be over there in a few minutes. And if you are just uh, watching live, or if you're watching at your convenience at a later time, thank you for clicking on. Let's get to it. Mexico is now deporting Americans back to the United States in a strange turn of events. Undocumented Americans who are looking for a lower cost of living and have found it in Mexico are driving up inflation in their country. Now, this has led to Mexico beginning to deport anyone not documented. They've already caught over 240,000 migrants in Mexico this year. So already 250,000 Americans trying to go into Mexico undocumented and for a higher standard of living. The dollar going a lot farther in Mexico than it does here in the United States, thus driving down the value of the Mexican peso and um, causing Mexico to be upset. And they have, again, the U.S. doesn't pay any taxes down there generally if you're a U.S. citizen. Only Mexican citizens pay taxes because it is an attraction for tourists, and Americans aren't supposed to be staying there. So, again, it's a little strange turn of events in our first story as Mexico is deporting Americans. Again, it is Memorial Day. This was really odd. Family of a J6 rioter attempted to drive an, quote, Ashley Babbitt Memorial Stone through Arlington National Cemetery. Arlington National Cemetery, for those that do not know, is a sacred veterans cemetery. And they were turned away at the gate. We'll get a little more on that stone coming up here, I think. I've been talking about this, the fact that the Republican Party proper does not want anything to do with Donald Trump, and that he is more valuable to the Republican Party as a martyr than a candidate. And I got some emails saying, hey, the Democrats, if anybody got rid of him, it would be the Democrats. And I've got to respond to that and say, no, not even close. First of all, again, the Democrats want Trump on the ballot because he is so divisive to the Republican Party. Not only will he more than likely lose the presidency, but he will also cost the Republican Party to lose the House and the Senate, and have total Democratic authority in Washington. So they know this. And even Alex Jones and let me see, I forget this guy's name. He's the head of the Proud Boys, or founder of the Proud Boys, Gavin McInnes. And here's what they're talking about: how the Republican Party is fine with losing and sitting on the bench for 4 years just to get rid of Trump.
Yeah, they're taking 4 years off. They're going to warm the bench for 4 years while we clean up this mess. And then they're going to get back to their destruction.
Very astute. I think that's probably an 80% chance, though there's a wild arm of them saying they're going to kill Trump.
Yeah. And he should be scared. Yeah, they're taking 4 years off. They're going to warm the bench for 4 years while we clean up this mess. And then they're going to get back to their destruction.
Very astute. I think that's probably an 80% chance, though there's a wild arm of them saying they're going to kill Trump.
Yeah, and he should be scared.
Okay. Again, those aren't my words. All right. I'm reporting what's going on. Actually, what was going on the Alex Jones show. Like I said, the Democrats have no reason to assassinate Trump, even though it would be pinned on the Democrats, despite the evidence we've been showing on here and continue to show, surrounded by insurrectionists and discussing quote unquote assassinations. Mike Flynn, we're going to report on this coming up, and the Alex Jones piece in response to that. All right. Again, like the title says, we are talking about updates on all 5 of the potential fronts the U.S. military could be facing, up to and including potentially martial law being declared in the United States. And we touched on that, obviously, just a couple of seconds ago with the story from Alex Jones. Now we go to China and Taiwan. China, or as George Bush used to say, China. China is preparing a large military fleet to invade Taiwan. I've been telling you this for a little bit now, that it's probably going to come in the first week or 2 weeks of June, and we are just about there. Now, some key facts here. Beijing has a shortage of landing ships, so civilian vessels will be used as military vessels. So that is not uncommon for countries to commandeer civilian assets and put them into military service. They're saying that the civilian vessels can be launched after the coastal defenses of Taiwan have been destroyed, or they can be used in a mass pressure situation where they try to overwhelm the Taiwan defenses. Landing troops under fire, one of the most difficult military maneuvers. That is indeed a fact. If you want an example of landing troops under fire, watch any movie about D-Day, Saving Private Ryan, any of those movies, The Longest Day, a number of great movies about and will demonstrate the difficulty of landing troops under fire. The publication believes that China is capable of moving 300,000 vehicles across the Taiwan Strait in 10 days. Now here's the kicker. American intelligence believes that the head of China has ordered the army to be ready to seize the island by 2027. So, according to American intelligence, our country doesn't even think this is going to happen, despite and I hope they are right, but it's certainly not where the arrows are pointing. And in case you do not know, at the moment, China has a complete blockade around Taiwan. Now, eventually, this blockade is going to impact the supply chain, and when it does, it will be at the tune of about $5 trillion worldwide. So those wondering what the significance of little old Taiwan is, there's your answer. I had a little 1-minute live recording today about an exchange between Egypt and Israel. Here's an update of that according to sources with the Israeli Defense Force. my sources are not with the Israeli Defense Force, by the way. Um, one is government oriented, and the other is private citizen. According to sources with the Israeli Defense Forces, a unit of the Israeli Combat Engineering Corps. Let me pull this all the way out. Unit Combat Engineering Corps was exploring a Hamas tunnel that had been discovered crossing between Egypt and the southern Gaza Strip near the Rafah border crossing. And during the exploration, so evidently they were within a tunnel. During the exploration, they were spotted by a group of Egyptian soldiers who opened fire on the unit. Now, this is the again, this is the Israeli Defense Force side of things. Opened fire on the unit, forcing the Israelis to return fire, causing the death and injury of several of the Egyptian soldiers. The incident is believed to have been a case of mistaken identity, with the Egyptian soldiers not knowing that the engineers were with the IDF. I do not know about you personally, but me, there are so many questions that this brings up. A case of mistaken identity. If uh, if these combat engineers were not in uniform, possibly, but if it was a case of mistaken identity, who would the Egyptian soldiers think would be coming through the tunnel? Um, and who opened fire? Well, we may never know. I do not have an Egyptian side of this yet. I don't have a source inside Egypt and waiting for their government's official response. It may be out now because it's been about an hour since I checked, but that's an update on from what happened earlier today. This comes from BRICS News. Again, BRICS is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. India and China have agreed to ditch the U.S. dollar as far as imports within the two countries. From now on, anything imported from India to China will not have a U.S. dollar backing. And the same thing, anything from China into India, they will no longer be using the U.S. dollar for those imports within those countries within the BRICS organization. The attack on the U.S. dollar and thus our economy continues. Poland will put boots on the ground in Ukraine. If Russia achieves, again, we're talking about the 5 separate fronts the U.S. military could find itself involved in. And this is one of those 5. If Russia achieves a strategic breakthrough in the east of Ukraine, the Baltic states and Poland will put boots on the ground in Ukraine. That comes out of Der Spiegel news group. The San Diego U.S. Border Patrol sector has encountered over 30,000 Chinese illegal immigrants at the border since October 1st, a staggering 86,000%. I'm sorry, 8,600% increase over the past 2 years. Lawmakers raised concern about potential espionage. Well, France has signed an agreement with Ukraine for French military instructors to go to Ukraine to train the Ukrainian army. Ukrainian army's been fighting against Russia for about 3 years now. I really question what kind of what else the French are going to teach them, and French history and war is anyway. I think this is more a formality to allow French troops. So we've got French troops. We just talked a couple of stories back about how Poland and Lithuania, Estonia, uh, the states known as the Baltic states, how they were planning on boots on the ground. Um, it's looking more and more like at some point we will be involved in this front, this European theater front that more involved than we already are, and that's why it's one of the 5 potential fronts the U.S. military could find themselves in. Japan, this came in 8 hours ago. Japan orders their residents to take cover. North Korea has launched a ballistic missile. Um, Now, this story developed. Um, North Korea claims that they told Japan that they were going to launch a missile, and Japan says no, that's not what they said. They said they were going to launch a missile on June the 3rd, um, with a satellite in it, and North Korea launched this ballistic missile. Obviously, Japan sent out a warning to take shelter, thought it was an incoming um, nuclear ballistic missile, and the missile um, exploded over the missile exploded, detonated was the term that was used. The missile detonated in Japanese airspace. Japan says it did not shoot down the missile, um, but someone else might have. So take that for what you will. The Telegraph again reporting that China is amassing a large fleet for possible invasion of China. From a Chinese point of view, it makes the most sense to invade now while the U.S. has its hands tied in Ukraine and in Israel. Um, that's what we've been talking about. The United States has never waged war on uh, on 3 fronts, and it's been decades since we've waged war on uh, on 2 fronts. And now we are looking at 5 if we include the home front as we do here. Um, Footage below circulating on Hebrew TV channels being circulated. The claim that this is the shooting incident between Egypt and Israel. Again, this is the one I did the short on earlier today. Um, but this, all I have is the Israeli side. I do not have the um, Egyptian side, even though this is has an Arabic translation to it. Egyptian security opened fire on an Israeli truck, and Israeli soldiers responded with gunfire. So, and again, multiple casualties, both killed in action and wounded, suffered by the Egyptians. Um, Staying in the Middle East, the Saudi foreign minister had this to say today. Quote, Israel doesn't get to decide whether or not the Palestinians have a right to self-determination. It is absolutely necessary that Israel accepts that it cannot exist without the existence of a Palestinian state. And again, Egypt and Israel exchanging gunfire today. So the Saudi Arabia has agreed that they will recognize Israel and have a working relationship with Israel. But the only way that happens, the condition to that is Israel immediately leave Palestine and allow Palestinians self determination. Um, it is a Mexican standoff, if you will. And now Egypt could possibly be more involved than they have been due to the incident today. Reminder that it is Memorial Day, and for Trump's against Republicans put this out. Not Trump's against Republicans. Sorry, I have it the other way around. It is Republicans against Trump. Put this out today. Trump's former chief of staff, John Kelly, who knows him really well, worked with him literally at his side the whole time he was chief of staff, describes the former president as, quote, a person that thinks those who defend their country in uniform or are shot down or seriously wounded in combat are all suckers because there's nothing in it for them. It is really all about Donald Trump. And I'm going to keep saying it in hopes that especially veterans hear this and hear it not from my mouth, but from the former chief of staff who actually knows this guy. And remember what all politicians, what they say in public and how they really feel are often very, very different. Keep all that in mind as you choose who to or who not to support. On this Memorial Day, we remember and express our deepest gratitude to the brave individuals who have given their lives for this country and extend heartfelt thanks to the men and women currently serving in the military. God bless those who served and God then and guide them now. So I thought that was a fitting way to wrap up um, our Memorial Day. And then I was reminded that Mike Flynn is still on this tour, and I think he's one of the biggest threats to peace in our country at this time. And we need to keep an eye on that. There's nothing. I don't think there's nothing we can do about it other than keep an eye on it. And in case there's any doubt, things are heating up in the European theater. Great Britain getting involved as well. Britain's ruling Conservative Party has said it will bring back national service if it wins power again in the election coming up on July 4th. The United Kingdom calling a surprise election at the beginning of last week and will be held on July 4th. If the Conservative Party wins, 18-year-olds would either choose to join the military full time for 12 months or spend one weekend a month working within their community for a 12-month period. I'm pretty sure that's what it was, but let me make sure. Or spend one weekend every month volunteering in their community over the year. So that's what's happening in Great Britain. Estonia, the prime minister basically declared that NATO will fight Russia until Russia is totally destroyed, and there is no other plan. No peace talks are needed. As I mentioned to someone earlier, things just get more and more bizarre. Let's give 29 seconds of our time to hear what the Prime Minister of Estonia has to say.
Ukraine has to win the war, and Russia must understand they lost. This is our plan A, B, and C. Words and sanctions are important, but not enough. Ukraine needs weapons, ammunition, training. It also needs financial and economic support, and it needs it now. It is our role and duty not only to continue, but increase our support to Ukraine on all fronts.
So for anyone that is saying, hey, peace is coming, nothing to worry about, peace is coming. Well, no. I want to bring this up to full screen if I can, and I'm not going to be able to. It doesn't look like. Nope. Okay. Here we go. This is going to be as big as I can get it, and this comes from this was posted. We the People. Texans claim a mailer supporting former President Trump is voter intimidation. It came from Newsbreak. Here's what the flyer says: "Don't make us report you to President Trump," with an exclamation point. "We are sending an official list of Republicans who failed to vote in the upcoming runoff. We're sending that list to President Trump. Records show that you have not voted. Trump will be very disappointed." So they're already making lists and checking them twice. And in their eyes, if they are the only ones that are nice, and when actuality they are naughty and are just waiting on permission to do the things that they think about doing that are really, really bad things. But once they're given permission by someone, then those bad things will start happening. This is sped up footage. What you're seeing here in the pink, you can't really tell from the graphic, but what you're seeing here in the pink, this is I track a lot of ocean vessels too. This is not mine. This was sent to me. What you're seeing here are two Russian, they're listed as trawlers, and yet they're just going back and forth in a very tiny area. And you can see they're going back and forth for an extended amount of time. First, the pink boat is there nonstop for almost a 24-hour period. Then the green boat comes up, and the green boat will come up and take basically the exact same route. You'll also see you'll see a boat that is colored orange, and you will see it completely avoid the area as it comes out. Here we go to the second screen, and you'll see the green boat come up as well and start making the exact same path as the pink boat. Here it comes. There it is. And it's going over the exact same area. You'll see an orange boat come out and completely avoid the area. That area is where the undersea fiber optic internet cables between Svalbard and the Norwegian mainland. So if there are any major internet outages, I think this is a preparation for sabotage, as Russia has plans for expanding their effort. From the Polish foreign minister, Americans have told the Russians that if you detonate a nuclear bomb, even if it doesn't kill anyone, we will hit all your targets and positions in Ukraine with conventional weapons and destroy everything you have. So sabers being rattled all the way around, and that is why we are monitoring 5 different possible fronts that the United States military could find itself involved in conflict in, including the home front. Mother Nature has some things to say in Texas. This is before. This is the truck stop in Valley View, Texas. This is the before picture. And here is the after picture after the tornado had gone through. Lori Arnold, our friend Lori Arnold, was up there yesterday. I say up there from her perspective. Her and Eddie were up there filming, and check out her channel and see some of the devastation. They did some good Samaritan stuff in taking some supplies up with them. So So good on them. And again, check that out as we are, once we're wrapped up here, and we're trying to get wrapped up fairly quick. I was trying to keep it under a half an hour, but I'm not going to make it. Again, I wanted to touch on this. Surrounded by insurrectionists and discussing quote unquote assassinations, Mike Flynn says that when, quote, when that jury comes out, talking about the Trump jury, and the case, by the way, I have not touched on this, the case tomorrow in New York City involving Trump and um, illegal use of campaign funds. When all of that comes out tomorrow, closing arguments, the defense, prosecution will both lay out their case. It will all come out, closing arguments. How long will that take? I'm guessing maybe 4 hours, maybe 2 hours apiece at the most. And then the jury will receive instructions and the case will be handed over to the jury. Normally, Wednesday is an off day, tomorrow being Tuesday, today being Memorial Day. And I kind of forgot about that until about halfway through the day. Anyway, the case could go to the jury as soon as tomorrow afternoon. I don't know if they'll do that. I don't know if they will have the jury convene on Wednesday. Again, Wednesday normally an off day, or if they will give the case to the jury on Thursday. But at some point coming up, we are going to have a verdict. And I hope everyone, no matter what side you find yourself on, remembers that whatever the jury says, that's the verdict. And whether you like it or not, you abide by the jury's decisions. Mike Flynn, however, says that when that jury comes out, this is his quote. Mike Flynn says, when the jury comes out, it's going to be a JFK moment for this country. A shot heard around the world. And if they convict him of one crime, the moment will be unprecedented. And some are looking at this as a threat that they're threatening Trump. Make my daddy VP or watch your back, quote unquote, from the someone in the Flynn organization. And this I want to end on. I just found this. I found this incredibly troubling. I want this to play. Do not want any copyright strikes. All right. What you see here is a rather nondescript man, green t-shirt, short hair. Watch. The little boy in front of him, he grabs the little boy, runs in, and nobody does anything. More people. Second time. Nothing happens. The third time, runs in. Still, no one gets involved. Fourth time, he runs in. Are you starting to see how child abductions and child trafficking rings, how easily it can be happening? This time, somebody does something. 1 out of 5 times. And the person that did it was a little girl. And he brings her out and he shows her the camera and he says this was all a social experiment to see if anyone would do anything. And she was the only one that did. Just something to think about. Thank you all for watching. Greatly appreciate it. I really sincerely do. Thank you to Fred. Hello, my friend. Hello, Pat. Big Spank Dog. Did I hear about the CIA agents captured in the Congo? I did not. I have not heard that they were CIA agents. I did hear that. I did hear some Americans. A couple of Americans were captured, and one of those captured, his father was killed. The CIA connection I did not hear. Not going away. Thank you for being here. And again, greatly appreciate you all tuning in, all watching. Please hit that subscribe, hit that like, hit that share, notification bell if you do subscribe. And I will be back. I'm not sure when. I'm going to say I won't be back tomorrow night, and I'll tell you why. I'll share a little something with you. My youngest daughter is currently in a hospital nearby in the maternity ward, and I could be becoming a grandpa and have a grandson here literally later on. Well, it will probably be on the 28th of May, which is fitting because I have a niece whose birthday's the 28th of May. So I will probably not be on here tomorrow, and but I will be back very soon. If something happens and something major happens, I'll definitely be on here. But hopefully, I'm going to be able to take a day off of this and from this and celebrate a grandchild that I'm both excited and concerned is coming into the world at this time. So, all that being said, I'll probably see you Wednesday night at 11 p.m., if not before. And until then, I love y'all. Love y'all more than chocolate chip cookies. Thank you for tuning in. Wish you nothing but positive vibrations, peace, and remember, it's a dark world. So try to be a light.